Welcome back to the Elise Surkov podcast, where we help women in perimenopause and menopause thrive from the inside out. I'm going to get a little vulnerable today and share something that I share often with our FFWE community. So, all the ladies working with us, shout out to you. Thank you so much. I love what I do. And I love getting vulnerable with our ladies because the more vulnerable I get, the more people share back with me. And I know that it's really easy to look to me and say, well, it's easier for you because blank, or, genetically you're blank, or yes, I get it. Like I am not a special snowflake, but I want to just also paint the picture that I'm so not perfect. I share this often. It took me 4 years to stop eating like an asshole on the weekends. I truly loved eating like an asshole. And this came up months ago on one of our community calls when we were talking about this very thing. And when I first started this community, I used that term eating like an asshole 100% of the time. And so I'd say, don't eat like an asshole. I don't want you to eat like an asshole. And that really meant like, I don't want you to fucking overeat and blow all the work that you've done. And that's what I did every single week. And I truly felt like I deserved all this food on the weekend because I worked so hard during the week. And I mean, I didn't even, that just seemed so normal to me. So like going to the bakery, I would just have anything I wanted. Yeah, let's have fries, let's have the cider, let's have the salads with the cheesecake with all, well, I didn't have cheesecake because I can't have dairy, but the chocolate cake, whatever it was, you name it, I ate it. I love to eat. I love to eat. I grew up in a family that loved to eat. Food is definitely love. I'm Jewish. If you are, of Jewish descent or Italian or Greek, a lot of times it is our love language is like food, right? I remember going to my great grandmother's house, and we would go over there for the high holidays, and it was like between meals of lunch and dinner between others, and it was like, no, 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 you have to eat, you cannot leave this house until you eat. And I just loved it. It was like my love language at the time. And so for me not to do that anymore is really hard. And I say this often, I really miss eating like an asshole. And I said this to a friend actually also, and he just looked at me and he's like, I get it. And so when you are someone who, overeats, and you were a big overeater, and maybe this is you, while you're overeating, there's that like dopamine hit, right? Where you're just like, I just want to blank out and eat. And I'm going to be totally vulnerable here as well by sharing that at the time of this recording, it is the end of May. I shared an email yesterday with my community, my whole community of subscribers, that like I can't stop crying. I have a drop in estrogen happening. I'm meeting with my doctor tomorrow. I've got night sweat, so hormones are definitely really at play as I'm hitting that like mid to tail end of perimenopause now. Shit's getting real. And then going through a lot of like personal struggles right now. I've had a lot of like big changes happen in my life. I'm so emotionally driven. I feel like I am just like crying all the time. And I said to my coach, I'm leaning on food, and I don't like that, but I don't know how not to because I need something. And he looked at me and he was like, let's just lean on food for a little bit. And I've actually said the same thing to my clients when we've had clients who've gone through big changes, divorce, new jobs, death of a loved one, and they lean on food and they're like, their weight came back up. I'm like, let's just lean on food a little bit. It's okay. Like, let's not always have to be eating less. Let's not always be focused on our body. And I always say, hey, it's better than leaning on drugs or alcohol, right? Those are harder addictions to break. And I'm like, it's just food. We can get that back. We can, let's just honor what is happening right now in our life. And that's what I said to my coach. In all transparency, I said to him, like, I just want to eat chips because it gives me a dopamine hit, because it reminds me of when I used to eat like an asshole, hiding in my pantry at 3 p.m. in the dark, after I brought my kids home from school. They were little at the time. And so everyone is like, oh my God, if you're a parent, that 3 to 5 hour, that 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. time zone, that time when you're like trying to get dinner ready and you're trying to like unpack their day from school, and they are just like fucking assholes because they've regulated all day that they can't regulate anymore, and they take it out on you, and you're trying to like come down from work or wherever it is that you had with your day. I really just leaned on food, and my love was chips and popcorners, and I just like anything I could just keep popping into my mouth. And so I said to my coach, I really just want to lean on food. I want that dopamine hit. I feel like I need something to kind of numb the pain a little bit, make me feel like I used to feel when I was eating like an asshole. And so of course I don't want to gain weight. That's not my goal right now. So talking to my coach was like, all right, cool. So here's what it is that you keep gravitating towards. Let's get rid of that so we don't have that. And instead, instead, let's fill the body with this instead. So like you're still eating a good amount of food, but the nutrients that you're getting are going to do more than causing inflammation to the body. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now for me. But I will be totally honest that when I do eat like an asshole, it feels fucking amazing. So let's talk about that. Your brain will never really erase your negative behavior or that addictive behavioral pattern. And so a lot of times when we have clients that are like, they're big overeaters or like you probably recognize this, you might be someone who swings a pendulum. You go from overeating and then undereating and you just really can't find the middle. And maybe you're now in the middle, but like you want to overeat. So you overeat and then you're like, shit, I overeat and I got to undereat to kind of, it's not just a matter of like, if that's going to happen again, it's a more matter of like, when that's going to happen again. And we talk about self-control being like those who have the most self-control are those the ones who don't have to practice it. So going back to me for an example, I had chips in the house, so I leaned on them because those are my go-to. But guess what? I don't have chips in the house anymore. And because right now I'm in this phase of like, I just want to lean on food a little bit, I'm going to be really mindful of the fact that I am not going to bring trigger foods into the house right now. But for the last 2-3 years, I've had chips in the house and it's been no problem, right? Because my life's been a little bit more stable. Stable, that's a strong word. My life's been a little bit more predictable, right? So I wasn't leaning on it the same way I am right now. So I have to practice more self-control, which is harder for me in the state that I'm in hormonally, emotionally, mentally. So let me go ahead and remove it so that I don't have to necessarily practice that much self-control. But if I'm being totally honest, most of the time you are going to have that feeling of I miss that behavior that I used to do. And because you're starting new habits, maybe you don't eat like that anymore, your brain has been rewired to have that new, pathway. So maybe when I feel sad, I eat. But now I've gotten to the root trigger of why I'm sad. So when I feel sad, instead of eating, I do blank. I journal, chew gum, I go for a walk, I leave the kitchen, I sit in my feelings and talk it out with myself, whatever it is. You've created those new neural pathways in your brain so that we're not going to the overeat dopamine hit. But those pathways are still there. So imagine it's like a green light that lights up, and now that green light doesn't light up anymore. That green light bulb is still there and she's ready to be lit. So at times you might find that you're like, I just wish I could eat chips again. And then what happens is that green light goes off in your brain and you got that dopamine hit without feeling the food hit your belly yet. And that's what happened to me. It was like, oh, I just need chips. And that green light went off and it was like, yes, we want that. And the stomach is like, yo, Elise, I haven't had that yet. And so now it's like, I have the hit without having the hit. I got to have the hit. And then I go and have chips, right? And obviously there's tips and tricks like don't eat out of the bag, eat in the fucking bowl. Okay, I'm going into the fucking bag. I don't care. That's my dopamine hit, right? And so I'd be lying if I said there weren't times that I miss eating like an asshole. I miss that, and I miss alcohol too, right? I miss numbing out with alcohol. I haven't done that and I still won't do that. But sure, I miss having a glass of wine. And I'd be lying if I said part of me is like, maybe I should just start drinking again. But I don't want that. I don't like the way I feel when I drink. I don't like the way I feel the next morning. I don't like the way my skin looks. I don't like the way my stomach feels. I don't like the way my sleep is. And it hurts my training. And I'm so protective of my training. So just like eating a bag of chips every now and then is just so much easier for me. But I want to make it super clear that I'm not perfect and chances are you won't be either. And that's okay because we're not looking for perfection. We don't want, good or perfect being the enemy of good. So good is great. Good is a great place to live. And we just need to really manage expectations because at some point you might go back to some of that behavior. And by the way, that doesn't mean that if you go back to that behavior that you're weak or that you failed. It just means that you are fucking human. And I will say from one human to another, this stage of life is hard. Puberty was really hard, but fuck, you had so much support and you probably had your parents there to help you and you had friends and it was exciting. And then, pregnancy, that shit was fucking hard, but it was exciting. You get a baby after it, right? But this stage of life is just really fucking hard and it can feel super isolating and you feel like no one else is experiencing it because maybe your friends are not. Everybody is going to experience perimenopause a little bit different. Some people have no symptoms until right near the very end. I had a client once, shout out to Lisa. She was 60. She turned 60 while she was working with me. And then perimenopause hit her. Like, she stopped getting a period when she was 61. So can you imagine? Like, she was a little bit late to the game in that, but when she fucking hit 60, oh my God, did everything crash for her. And she got every fucking symptom under the sun. So like someone like Lisa with me right now, and I'm 46, like wouldn't relate to me because she'd be like, hey, when I was 46, things were fine. Right. By the time I'm 61, I'm like going to be in menopause and I'll be like, fuck, that was like in my 40s. Right. So everybody is going to be experiencing this at a different time. And I want to, I'm all about like being gentle on yourself while also giving yourself a little bit of tough love and not saying yes to every fucking thing that comes your way. But there will be times where you will fuck up. It will be hard and you might miss eating like an asshole or drinking like an asshole. And then you go ahead and do that. And then that is where you get the decision. You get to decide, you get the decision yourself to make. Do I continue down this path of self-destruction or do I go back to what I was doing before? And I highly encourage you to go back to what you were doing before, because we don't slash all the tires when one gets slashed, right? When you spill a little bit of milk, you don't empty out the whole carton. You're going to fuck up. You're going to spill milk. You're going to get a flat tire. Don't just self-sabotage the rest of what you did because of that. I don't even want to call it moment of weakness, moment of humanity. So from me to you, I hope that this makes you feel a little bit more seen and heard and know that none of us are perfect. We're all doing our best. And I wish that for you as well. And I'd love to know, how does this land with you? Leave me a review below. Let me know, what is your weakness, or when was the last time, you fucked up a little bit? What was it for you? I'd love to hear. Share on social, shoot me a DM. I'll link that all below. Shoot me an email, link that below too. And I will respond back and send you some words of encouragement. Until the next time.